Hello and welcome to Tooshka Training. Today we're back in Hitfilm 2 Ultimate with the third in our Elements series. These are little projects that you can use on your HUDs, HUDs, on displays of all kinds, wherever you want to use them. Today we're going to be tackling LED bar graphs. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to create a new composite shot. I'm going to call this LED bar graph new. The reason I'm calling it new is because later on in the tutorial, I'm actually going to jump to a composite shot that I've already completed, because a part of it is a little time consuming. You're not going to want to watch it, but it's very easy to do once you've actually explained a couple of steps. The first thing we'll do here is we'll create a new plane, which we will call LED bars new. Color, not important. First thing we'll do here is we'll go to transform, we're going to unlink the controls, and we're going to move the width down to 5%. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to generate, and we're going to pull a grid onto this. Point 1, we're going to zero this completely out, and then on point 2 we're going to go for 600 by 19. You can ignore the border radius and the feather controls. We'll change the color to red, just so it's easier to see. Now that's that container done. That's that composite shot done. And the reason that composite shot is done is because if we use a grade layer like so, and then we create a mask on that grade layer, it does nothing. It does nothing whatsoever. So the way we need to collapse this is we need to work on the outside of the bar graph composite itself. So we're going to create another new composite shot, which we will call LED bar graph container new. When I swap from new to the other, I'll tell you about it. Now we've got this LED bar graph new. We drag that in like so. We shrink this down a little bit. We're going to create a new mask, which is the size of the entire thing, like so. And then we're going to bring the mask controls down, open the path, get the path so it's setting up keyframes by clicking this little button here, turning it green, and then we're going to drag the mask completely off the screen. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set this to frames, and we're actually going to zoom the timeline a bit. And the way I'm doing that here, you notice I'm not moving down here to actually zoom. I'm using Control and middle on the mouse button, which is middle button, the mouse scroll wheel. The next thing I'm going to do is, for the first frame, is going to be left there. I'm going to move to the next frame. We're actually going to go a little bit bigger so we can actually see the frames. I'm going to go to the next frame, and then I'm going to move the mask up so you can see the first bar. I'm actually going to use the mouse wheel and then the right button to pan up so we only get the first bar on the mask. And I'm going to move to the next keyframe, and I'm going to move the mask up again, and so on and so on and so on until we get to the very top. Once we're at the top, we will actually have a bar graph container that looks like this. Now, what I've also done here is I've changed from frames back to time here, so I've got the exact time. Then I've gone to the composite shot properties, and I've set the duration to the exact time of that bar graph. There is a reason for that, and you'll see why in a moment. I don't understand why you can't type frames directly in here. The duration should allow you to type in just frames, but if the frames go over into seconds as well, you have to go back to time and get the seconds and frames property and type that in. I don't like the way that's set up, but again, it's one of those things with Hitfilm. You have to get used to it. You have to get used to it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new composite shot, which we're going to call LED repeater, which I've already done here. And it's got the first bar graph container in it that we've just created, like so. But then what I've done, I'll do it again, is I've duplicated this below itself, and then I've moved it over so it's after the very first one. So what we've got now is a repeat. Unfortunately, as you can see, it jumps straight back to the start. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go down to temporal, and we're actually going to put a time reverse effect on it. So now what you get when you play this is a perfectly repeated loop. However, that's not always what you want. In this particular instance, it works great, and it's actually perfect that it works like that. Because what we're going to do now is, now we've got the time reverse on it, we're actually going to chop some of the item off so that it doesn't go all the way back down to the bottom. However, what you need to remember here is that you are not doing a reverse like you would in any other editing application. It's a missing feature that they've decided to add as a filter for some reason, instead of just being able to reverse things directly on the timeline. I think it's probably something that's a throwback to before Hitfilm actually had an editor. Really, most people are going to be used to right-clicking and just reversing the item, which is something that should be in options here. It's still an effect, and I'm going to show you now why it's a little bit unfortunate that it's an effect. Hopefully at some point they will make it just an option on items, because what we need to do now is we want the item to be shortened, but unfortunately, because the effect is the time reverse and it's not actually a time reverse directly in the item, even though you want to change the end point of the item, you are going to have to adjust the start point of the item. Very counterintuitive, but it will work. So if we pull this back here a little bit like this, what you will see now is that when I play this, it actually comes back down and stops halfway. So now what we want to do is we want to duplicate this track, and we're just going to delete the time reverse on this track. And now when we play this here, like so, what we'll get is a bounce that's about halfway, and there you've got a nice little bounce. You can keep doing this as much as you like, and you can do all kinds of things with this. I'm going to show you a few other techniques for this on a different tutorial, but that's your LED bar graph covered. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and we'll see you on the next one.